under control. There's no reports of any injuries or anyone trapped or anything like that at the minute.
A man in his 60s has been charged with assault causing harm following the death of his son in Kilkenny. The incident happened at a house on the Castlecomer Road in the city on Monday. Aoife Kearns has this report.
Zbigniew Besnarczyk, with an address of Meadowway, Kilkenny, appeared before Carlow District Court this afternoon. The 61-year-old was charged with assault causing serious harm, which resulted in the death of his son, Rafał Besnarczyk Jatna. Mr Besnarczyk did not speak during the appearance and was assisted in court by a Polish interpreter. Gardaí objected to bail being granted to the accused on the grounds of the seriousness of the offence. Zbigniew Besnarczyk was remanded in custody to appear before Kilkenny District Court via video link next Monday.
Sinn Féin says the new Brexit deal struck between the EU and the UK should lead to the restoration of Stormont. The Windsor framework, unveiled on Monday, has been dubbed a breakthrough. Sinn Féin's Vice President Michelle O'Neill has this appeal to the DUP, who brought down the executive more than a year ago.
For the ordinary person sitting at home today, they want to know, when is the executive going to be up and running? I would take more of an approach of encourage the DUP, ask the DUP, come around the table with the rest of us, and let's do what we need to do for the public that we represent.
And finally, for now, Jeremy Clarkson's time with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire will end after the next series. ITV has announced the broadcaster will no longer be the face of the popular game show after hosting it for 8 seasons. It's not the only project Jeremy has lost recently. Following controversial comments about Meghan Markle, Amazon Prime said it will no longer work with the TV presenter beyond seasons of The Grand Tour and Clarkson's Farm, which have already been commissioned. And that's your news update at 7:02.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Treat yourself to a city break in Marrakesh, Riga or Stockholm.
Staying dry and cloudy tonight with the odd shower in the southeast. A cold night with lows of 1 to 5 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette. Start your day in flow with the new Gillette Labs razor with exfoliating bar.
This is News Talk.
Now you're welcome along. So Rashida Adeleke, she is too good right now. She started competing in the 400 metres in October. She has just smashed her own national record over the last few days. She has set an NCAA record for University of Texas. She has run the second fastest time of the year. It is meteoric. She's still only 20. She joins us 7:30 from Texas to chat about her recent record smashing performance. We have Wednesday Night Rugby. The Dream Team will be here after 8 o'clock. Jerry Thornley, Andy Dunn coming your way. And then 2 Premier League games this evening, including Arsenal against Everton. So Kenny Cunningham is going to be allowed into the studio once again. 53106 text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Richie McCormack, hello to you.
Evening, Joe.
Kenny Cunningham, hello.
Evening, lads.
Evan Ferguson Mania is taking over.
But not in this studio. I was looking at Rich, waiting for him to jump in. He was looking at me. Yeah, I think that's been around for some time amongst the Irish football and public anyway. He's just been playing consistently well. I think we all feared the worst after that potential injury a few weeks ago, but he's bounced back from that and picked up where he left off. So, yeah.
Starts against France now?
He's certainly in contention. He's making a strong argument. I mean, look, he can throw it out there in terms of not putting too much expectation or responsibility on his shoulders. You know, we want him for the long term. We don't want to do him any damage in the short term by throwing him in. You know, he's not ready, you know, blah, blah, blah. I kind of understand that argument, but each person's different, each individual different kind of mentality, mindset, and this lad for me just looks ready. You know, every step that he's made, Joe, and is certainly in his club career so far, going over there at a very young age, making a big impact. The other 23 is, despite being a very kind of young teenager, and he's kind of, you know, he's just kind of blossomed in that kind of environment. And yeah, and in the first team, at the moment, it looks effortless for him. He's obviously still learning the game and still improving, but what he's shown at the moment, you would think in an Ireland jersey, he certainly helps the team in that forward attacking option.
You love the use of blah, 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 don't you? It's one of your go-tos, I'd say. That'd be a Kenny Cunningham.
When I'm bored of me, I feel like that's when I start listening to my own voice. I start boring myself. Eventually, it comes out.
Blah blah blah. Here I go again. I see Peter Crouch. Just started flicking through the papers here. I'm trying to catch up with myself. And David Beckham were in Dublin over the last few days. Did you get the call?
I didn't know. No.
Yeah, they were over
Q&A. I'm guessing.
No, I think they were just sampling the hospitality out, and they sampling Dublin pub life, separate to each other. Actually, they weren't with each other.
Oh, right. I was going to say that's an unlikely
duo
enough pairing. Yeah.
What have you been up to today?
Slow day today. Yeah, slow day. Just
do you like
ducking and diving?
No,
another one of me.
No doubt. No doubt. Blah blah blah. Do you like a slow?
That's Rich.
No,
hold on. He knows what I do on a daily basis. Go on, Rich. He's laughing. He knows.
Go on, then, Rich.
I don't know. It's like I was bringing the youngest lad home from school last week, and I saw this opulent sports car coming up the Oscar Traynor Road with a very familiar figure.
Ford Kia. Just put that out.
Don't be giving away
out there.
Don't be giving away the motor. It was a very opulent sports car. The top might have been down. I can't remember. But I could spot the head of Kenny Cunningham driving up the road. And like, do you know the way when Kenny's on, Joe, it always comes back to food somehow. Like somehow we always end up chatting about like, you know, what Kenny's been eating or what he likes to have on his pancakes, whether he likes tuna or not.
Yeah.
He's driving past me on the Oscar Traynor Road and he's stuffing his face behind the wheel of the car.
Classic.
Which, you know, when you're behind a high octane sports car wheel like he was, it's pretty dangerous. But yeah, stuffing his face with what looked like crisps.
He had to get involved in my business and message me like some minutes after. I'd like to think he wasn't messaging from the car, like, because that obviously would be an illegal offence if Rich was doing that.
Can you eat and drive? I'm not sure that's great either.
I'm sure you can scoop a few almond nuts into your gob off the passenger seat when you're driving. Surely that can't be a traffic offence.
There's not a chance you had almond nuts.
He's off the crisps for Lent, apparently. That's what he told me.
It's good for the memory. See, that aligns itself with the crossword. The nuts. It's good for the old memory. Keeps the old brain ticking over.
Yeah.
All the research has been done, Joe.
No, I understand. Do you like a slow day or do you find them boring? Were you bored today? Is that why you're here?
No, I take over. No, I've done me a few bits. What had to be done.
Give us one bit. I'm starting to think you are up to no good.
No. I'm rehabbing at the moment. I'm rehabbing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got a bit of sciatica. If you have to know, me personal business. So I'm on a little bit of a program at the moment, which I'm got the blinkers on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Building up your glutes, that kind of stuff.
No. That'd be more of a glute related
elements. Very important for your back. Very important for your back.
Support. Oh, you've been the rugby. Is this a lead into our rugby?
I won't bore you with the details. I won't go blah 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 here.
But you can't wait. No rugby this weekend either.
But about 2 years ago, accident, back in a bad place, and I've had 2 years of doing boring glute exercises, boring weights to try
little pelvic tilts.
All of that stuff. That's very important.
Pilates.
Yeah, maybe I'll get down that route now, but initially it was just try and get as strong as you possibly can.
Yeah, I'm on a bit of Pilates at the moment on top of what I'm doing. I think I've turned the corner with it. Big fan of the old Pilates. Done a lot of it back in the day. I had a groin-related injuries tail end of my career and I was struggling a bit and got introduced to that. Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
I was looking into all that now because I'm at an age where I can really feel the mobility just being suctioned out of me.
Every single time you get up, Joe, it's like, oh.
Yeah, making sense.
Down.
Yeah.
You're like Steve Bruce anytime he kind of moves in a chair.
And I just want to hold on to whatever I have. But I feel starting now as opposed to in another 10 or 20 years is the time to do it. So I'm on the lookout for a Pilates / yoga class. Is one perceived as better than the other or much of a muchness?
The yoga I started, funny enough, when I was playing. I always had a look at it and thought, yeah, okay, I get it to a point. But I found that it actually shook me a little bit. I woke up, done a yoga session, woke up the following day. And this is when I was playing, might have been on a Thursday morning or something before I got into training. And stiff, like really stiff and sore the body. So I thought, I've got to be careful here. How I introduce it. The Pilates for me was a little bit more subtle, you know what I mean? Just more kind of gradual introducing that. So, yeah, but the yoga... Yeah, I get it to a point, but I'm not really embracing it. I've got to be honest with you. But the Pilates is different. Yeah, it's good.
Right. Because I have a better sense of yoga. I've seen all the positions, I suppose. Whereas what's Pilates? Not similar, no?
Yeah, similar principles. It can be tough, to be honest with you. It can potentially a torture chamber if you go a few of those Pilates studios. But
you're shaking as you're holding that stretch.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, no, it's good, but you gotta get your head straight going. It could be quite frustrating experience when you first go in there in terms of kind of almost got to re-educate your body a little bit. So you got to kind of persevere and stick with it.
I think men are bad as well. We're less flexible than women.
Yeah, if you're not picking up stuff and throwing it against the wall and having a wrestle, it doesn't. Doesn't make sense, does it?
Because Netflix threw up a bunch of yoga classes recently, and obviously on YouTube you could get them. But I just thought, no, I'll do something silly. I'll crack my back the wrong way and prefer an instructor to guide me through the initial period.
Yeah. Bit more. People talk about the more spiritual thing with the yoga, don't they, in terms of cleansing the mind and all that. Now, I wouldn't really be chasing that, to be honest with you.
I'm chasing that. I need that.
You need to be cleansed,
you don't want to be in here. No, that would appeal to me.
Oh, really?
That aspect really would,
yeah. No, because that doesn't...
Getting in touch with my breath and the spirituality aspect, 100%. Why are you laughing?
That doesn't surprise me at all, Doug, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, there we go. Any experiences? 53106, actually. I would be very interested. Let us know. Good, bad, indifferent. Richie, have you done any of that?
God, no. Yeah. No, I'm far too lazy, Joe. Far too lazy.
See, I sort of think
I can see Rich on a bike.
Lazy man.
I can see Rich on a bike, Lycra.
He's too tall.
The whole shebang.
He's too tall for a bike.
Yeah, heading out for the Hill of Howth. That's only what's that, 3-4 miles down the road from you? Hill of Howth?
Pretty much, yeah.
No bother to him.
I'd find it a bit boring. I guess the scenery maybe would. I would like sitting on in a gym bike would do nothing for me now.
Oh, gym bikes now. I'm talking about get out on the road.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, on the lazy point. See, I would have thought, Richie, like it's appealing in that it's not cardio. If you're like facing into a run.
I'm a walker.
A few stretches.
Okay. No, I'm a walker. I'll walk anywhere. I'll walk like mad long distances just for the hell of it. And you just kind of start and you're like, I'll keep going. I'll keep going this way. I'll keep going this way. And I'm out kind of, every day anyway. So
Mossy Quinn just texted me 2 words.
There you go. He's a good man.
Yeah. I mean, he's ageless. Do you know Mossy Quinn?
No, of him. Don't know.
Dublin footballer.
Yeah.
Still looks 25. You'd hate him.
He does, yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
It's really terrible. He just said hot yoga.
Hot yoga?
Yeah.
Hot yoga instructor? Or what's he talking about?
Kenny.
Come on,
sorry.
Not in the dressing room in the 90s. Oh my God. I'm cringing for you. Do you want to go hang out with Keys and Gray over in Qatar, do you?
You said it.
Yeah. Hot yoga is the thing.
And your eyebrows went up as soon as you said it.
Not true.
Don't set a trap like that and fall into it.
Hot yoga. I presume the logic there is it's easier for you to get a stretch on when in hotter temperatures. But again, I don't know. I'm a total novice with this.
There is a bit. I've heard at the studio, some of the studios down the gyms, they bang up the temperature. That's true.
Anyway, there's 3 people who know nothing about this talking about it, so let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Bonnie on Twitter, almond nuts, he's changed. What happened to Thunders?
Oh, Thunders is still there, hand in glove.
John in Limerick says, Joe, sorry to break it to you. He's talking about my mobility here. You can't hold on to it. It's a slow and gradual disintegration. I'm 65 and... Jeez. Just give up. I'm 65 and years of exercise haven't halted the inevitable, John in Limerick. Although I would dare say, John, if you had not been exercising for all these years, you would be a less sprightly 65. Of course we're all going to lose it, but we're trying to halt the demise.
Yeah, I think it depends what you're into, isn't it? If you're some lads love the road running, don't they? Constant, miles, the mileage, yearly marathons, the whole, that must take its toll in terms of
joints.
The joints, yeah, hip, the whole shebang, so...
But I would presume still, though, benefits outweigh the pain of the joints. You see some lads running in their 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
They all look great. Tell you, swimmers all look great. It's rare you see someone who swims every day who doesn't have a lot of boxes ticked.
Yeah, I got into swimming for a while. Yeah, I did enjoy that. It's great. I guess the heart rate up quick. We've all run, haven't we? 15 to 20 minutes into a run, and you're really still searching for it in terms of getting your heart rate up.
Sorry. Maybe a former Premier League footballer is. Me and Richie, we find the heart rate pretty quick in those runs.
Do you think? But the pool, I suppose, the comparison with the pool, you do 2-3 lengths in a pool straight away, your heart's kind of popping out of your chest. So yeah.
Well, it's funny. Gary O'Toole, Olympic swimmer, was in here doing paper review a while back, and I'd been doing a bit of swimming. And I was saying to him, I'm the worst swimmer at my pool. I mean, I'm being overtaken by people.
Yeah, technique.
Twice my age, younger, everywhere. Like, honestly, I'm like, the slow lane, they're like, come on, man, move. And he made the not unfair point that actually, you want to be careful if you get too technically brilliant, because it's not going to do much for your heart rate. It's like you're swimming so inefficiently that 20 laps for you is very efficient.
Yeah.
Whereas
interesting.
He swims so beautifully, I would presume. 20 laps for him is like the first 2 minutes of your jog.
Yeah.
There's a blessing in being a terrible swimmer.
But I think the technique for me is kind of body alignment, because that comes back to the Pilates thing. I think particularly if your body alignment's right, then you're not kind of stressing that. You know, that one like your neck. If your neck's not quite, your head's out of the water.
I'm all that.
Yeah. If you're not getting that, then you're putting... For me, then it's like that back neck issues potentially come into it. So technique, that's why the technique's important.
I'm like in Rocky 3 when he gets in the pool the first time. We should get rid of lots of text messages.
Eric the Eel.
Yeah.
Would you ever do a butterfly, a couple of little butterfly strokes? They would have won some skill, wasn't it?
I'll take it out of you.
They would have won. You always had to go at 2, maybe 3 max, and that was it. You were under the water.
Yeah. Newsround is brought to you with Gillette Labs for an effortless finish to your day. We have got Arsenal top of the table in Premier League action this evening. Not on television, of course.
Arsenal having the chance to open up a 5-point lead at the top of the Premier League tonight, just a month after losing to them at Goodison. They welcome Everton to the Emirates. Arsenal are unchanged from their win away to Leicester at the weekend, so Thomas Partey is on the bench for them as Jorginho continues in midfield. For Everton, one change from their weekend game. They have Michael Keane restored to the back four alongside James Tarkowski. Conor Cody is the man to make way. There's a 7:45 start at the Emirates tonight. The kick-off at 8 at Anfield, where Liverpool play host to Wolves. A host of changes for Liverpool tonight. Darwin Núñez and Ibrahima Konate come back into their side. Nathan Collins remains on the bench for Wolves, and as I say, that one is underway at 8. The quarter-final draw for the FA Cup is going to be made tonight as well. There are still 4 more round 5 ties to be played. Grimsby Town are the lowest ranked side left in the competition. They haven't reached the last 8 since 1939. They're away to Southampton. That game is just underway. Former Cork and Waterford midfielder Gavin Holohan has started for Grimsby there. Manchester United welcome West Ham to Old Trafford for a 7:45 start. 6 changes from the Carabao Cup final win. Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Terrell Malacia, Marcel Sabitzer, Scott McTominay and Alejandro Garnacho all come into the side. There's a 7:30 start at Turf Moor, where Josh Cullen and Michael Obafemi start for Burnley against Fleetwood. Ireland under-19 international Cian Hayes plays for Fleetwood tonight. Former Waterford man Phoenix Patterson on the bench, but no promise on a share. Harry Kane is rested for Tottenham away to Sheffield United. Sheffield United also resting John Egan tonight in anticipation of their championship game with Blackburn at the weekend.
A few text messages in. You've let Kenny right off the hook there. 0 detail provided on his ducking and diving today, says Graham. I know, listen, I pushed him. That's as far as I could get. Rowing, best thing ever, says PJ in Limerick.
Oh,
yeah, I can see that.
Huge amount of respect for rowers. Huge.
Yeah.
So probably the worst thing I've done in terms of training in the gym, the lads or whatever collectively, rowing. Just no hiding place. No hiding place from it.
I did it a bit for a while. Someone gave me that program where you go all out for a certain period of time, then you stop, then you go all out again. By the end of it, you're like someone finishing a marathon, wobbly legged.
Yeah, everything's lightheaded, physically, probably as close as I've come to being probably sick doing any type of training when I played, and we've done a few of those, rowing sessions.
What club was mad for the rowing?
No, most of the time, used to introduce you. No, the circuit stuff, upper bodies lower. There was always used to be a rower in there. I'll tell you who was great at the rowing, who done it. Mick McCarthy always did it. When he came back to Millwall and he played, and then even when he managed and he spent, as you would, you spend time in the gym, he loved it. Mick loved the rower.
And what do you mean good at it?
No, just
loved it.
Yeah, loved it.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it. Just went straight for it.
That was his go-to.
Yeah.
Who's the most aerobically gifted, fittest player you ever played with?
Cool, there, off the top of my head. Can't think, to be honest with you.
Okay, it's good radio. I'll keep going. So, by the way, you did watch Arsenal at the weekend. They beat Leicester by all accounts, and based on Match of the Day highlights, they were good value for 1-0.
Stephen Carr just popped into my head.
Oh yeah,
in terms of like a physical specimen. unbelievable, frightening, yeah.
We touched on him a few weeks back.
Better late than ever. Better late than ever.
Yeah, we touched on Carr a few weeks back. Do you remember?
We did, yeah.
He was a specimen. Arsenal were good value against Leicester.
They were good value, Joe. They did deserve to win the game, but it was a poor game. I was so disappointed in Leicester. I really was. Just didn't see it coming.
Okay.
Do you know, you're almost shocked 20 minutes into a game, because up until that point they'd been scoring goals previously. 4 at home, wasn't it, to Spurs. Played really well first half against United. Could have gone better from there. So I was expecting more of the same, to really pitch up and have a go, basically, against Arsenal. And they just took a massive step back. Really surprised me. Low defensive block. No real intensity to their play, really kind of nervousness to their play, almost unsure of themselves. Right. Like a team who hadn't won in kind of 8-9 games. Yeah, so just kind of handed the initiative to Arsenal, who in the first half are nowhere near their best. Actually a little bit out of sorts, I'd suggest, in the final third of the pitch. Little or no shots on target. And yeah, just did enough. Arsenal got a great goal, don't get me wrong. Trossard, brilliant assist to Martinelli.
Yes.
But yeah, people say job done, tick box, move on, and of course that's right. But yeah, Leicester just never really put it up to him. I was so disappointed.
Okay, well, we'll watch the 2 games closely this evening, in so much as we can, given they're not on television. We'll keep you updated. Is this Queen's passing lag, Richie, again, or what's the reason?
Yes, okay. I believe this one is. Yeah.
It's been a chronic lack of adaptability on the front of just getting these games on television. But anyway, news from Connacht, Kieran Marmion.
Yeah, Kieran Marmion leaving Connacht when his contract expires at the end of this season. The scrum half was an integral part of the team that won the Pro 12 title under Pat Lam in 2016. Only John Muldoon and Michael Swift have made more appearances for Connacht, with Marmion currently on 224 appearances. He's also won 28 Ireland caps along the way.
There is a change coming to the PGA Tour. Rory McIlroy in favour of it?
Yeah, well, there might be. There seems to be some, pushback to this one, but some elevated events on the PGA Tour look set to dispense with halfway cuts as a means of combating live golf. Fields in those designated events will also be trimmed to between 70 and 78 players. The changes won't apply to the majors nor the FedEx Cup playoffs at the end of the season. Speaking to the Golf Channel ahead of the Arnold Palmer Invitational today, Rory McIlroy said the changes aren't that controversial.
Look, it's not as if the PGA Tour hasn't had no-cut events. Like, we've had no-cut events since I've been on the tour for the last 15 years. The WGCs, the playoffs. Obviously, we went with Zozo and CJ Cup in the fall. I mean, there's always been no-cut events. I think the no-cut thing just became a big deal whenever Liv came around, right? Like, that was sort of what prompted the whole discussion around it. But I think it guarantees the top players there for 4 days. And I'm certainly not one to reward mediocrity. This is the most aspirational tour to play in the world, and we have to keep it that way, and it has to be the toughest challenge for the best players in the world. And that's the sort of tour that we're trying to create. So this isn't a handout for guys that don't want to try anymore. And this is making the tour more pro-competitive. Even though there's the no-cut aspect is more for the sort of commercial viability of it, and making sure that your top guys are there to be seen for 4 days. I think that's a part of it. But the reason that we're making these changes is because, like it or not, Liv have exploited maybe some weaknesses of what the tour's framework was. And we're trying to do things to rectify that.
I think that's pretty fair. Lots of the mid-tier players obviously hate it and see it as a giant money grab by the top players. But I think McIlroy explained the opposing side of the argument pretty well there. So Brian from Lucan, you've got to try Bikram yoga. David Beckham does it. Brad Friedel played in goals at the top level till he was 42. He swears by Bikram yoga. Lads, we have a few guys in their mid-60s racing the cyclo-cross season and beating guys much younger, says Paul. There you go. And somebody asks, have you ever done a spin class, lads? Killer, but some buzz after. The shoutiness of it doesn't really appeal to me.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah. No.
You're not going to get one of those Peloton bikes in your thing where somebody shouts at you via a screen into your home.
No.
Push the max the envelope. Let's go.
Never loved the idea of getting working out a big sweaty head in your bedroom. Be with the bike next to the bed. Just think, nah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, the great outdoors, take it outside, definitely. And we're lucky over here, aren't we, this part of the world, in terms of scenery.
Yeah. So, spin class, not for me. Not for you.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Richie?
Not for me. No. No, not happening.
So, no, listener, is the general response.
Thanks,
there.
but.
Thanks, but. So, there is more money coming the way of sport. Where's it going?
Yeah, Sport Ireland announcing today an increase of €4 million investment-wise provided by the government for 2023. The funding package, which totals €24 million, is going to be split among 19 national governing bodies to support the delivery of their performance programmes in 2023. It'll support 127 athletes and 3 relays pool funding in 14 sports as they seek Olympic and Paralympic qualification for the 2024 Games. Overall, there's been a jump of around €9 million in the funding provided between Olympic cycles for the last Olympics and for the current cycling run.
Okay. Did you ever see, lads, the BBC documentary showing Steve Redgrave during his training for the Olympic Games and his 4th gold medal attempt? It was incredible stuff. The training camp's insane. No, I didn't see it. I'd well believe it.
Brutal. Yeah, I'd say brutal.
Do you go to a gym?
I do, yeah.
Do you find yourself struck by terrible technique, mainly lads, when it comes to weights? I'm looking over Wincing half the time.
Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't know enough to be honest with you. Yeah, I do know what you're saying, but I wouldn't be intervening.
See that, Joe?
I wouldn't be taking on myself to go.
On other folk.
Would you be tapping people on the shoulder, these big 16-stone brutes, and say, excuse me, would you mind if I just like to point out?
No, I wouldn't.
Potentially.
I mean, even like the young lads in there, they're lifting too much for themselves and just
I don't use it. I don't lift big weight or kind of machines. I kind of stay away from them, to be honest. But it's the profile in the gym now, which is so different to like years ago. The amount of actually young kids, boys and girls in there now, it's amazing. I wouldn't say it's a social thing, but I actually think it's a good thing, to be honest with you. You see them in there, a bit of discipline, they're keeping a record of what they're doing. They're obviously really, really into it. So I don't think it's actually a bad thing, thinking about their physical condition. I know there's a little bit of a vanity thing there, maybe young kids, sure. That's understandable. But the fact they're in there together collectively, a bit of a social thing almost.
No, totally, yeah. A lot of gyms are leaning into that lifestyle aspect for sure.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a bad thing at all. So it's a good thing to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So where are we going next, Richie?
Sad news today. The man who scored more goals in a single World Cup finals than anyone else has died. Just Fontaine was 89. In 1958, he set a record that still stands to this day by scoring 13 goals at that year's World Cup as France finished third. Born in Morocco, he didn't move to France until he was 20, carving out a brilliant career with both Nice and Reims. As sporting director at Paris Saint-Germain, he helped them win promotion in 1974 and was later the manager of Morocco.
So he 13 goals at a single World Cup in 6 matches.
6 games.
Ooh.
Two against the North, 4 were in the third place playoff. I think it was against Yugoslavia. Don't quote me on that one. But yeah, just incredible. Like nobody, until Gianni Infantino gets his wish and World Cups are played over 9 months and 4 continents with 24 matches apiece, like no one's going to touch that.
Yeah. What's currently second? I'm frantically trying to find it. Do you know?
Oh, I think... I don't want to say because I think I might get it wrong, but I think it's
Ronaldo?
I think it's 9. 9. But don't quote me on that.
What did Klose do in 02?
I think he got 8.
Yeah, 13 in 6. No joke. We have news from New Zealand.
Yeah, Ian Foster has confirmed he'll step down as All Blacks head coach after the World Cup. He made his announcement after New Zealand Rugby confirmed they'd be naming their post-World Cup head coach within 4 to 6 weeks. Foster had wanted another crack at the job should the All Blacks win the World Cup this year, but his NZR bosses thought differently. Foster took over from Steve Hansen in 2019 with this year their most difficult yet, losing their summer series to Ireland and suffering a first ever defeat on home soil to Argentina. However, Foster righted the ship in the second half of the year, leading the All Blacks to the Rugby Championship and an undefeated tour of the Northern Hemisphere. Crusaders boss Scott Robertson is the favourite to succeed Foster in the big job.
So I'm curious for your thoughts on this as somebody who's been in the dressing room. Ian Foster is the New Zealand coach. He is unhappy because with the World Cup on the horizon and generally in rugby, with the exception of England and Wales this year and South Africa a couple of years ago, most countries will stick to the World Cup cycle when it comes to coaching changes. So he's unhappy that they're appointing, or they're going to appoint his successor in the next couple of weeks. And he feels, well, why not do that after the World Cup is over? You're going to make me a lame duck manager in a way. I'm not reapplying. All the players now know I'm not reapplying. And you're going to have my successor just out there. And you're doing me no favours. I can really see his point. There's no need to jump the gun. I mean, if they want Scott Robertson, who is favoured, they could give a wink and a nod and say, Scott, maybe just don't take any jobs. We'll be in touch. They could let him know.
But was he happy to wait that first till after the World Cup cycle before they even went into discussion?
Yeah,
with his bosses. He wasn't looking for a new contract prior. He wasn't demanding. Did he push that?
He was essentially saying,
did he force
leave this
hand?
process. You're saying leave this process until after the World Cup.
I don't think he was forcing their hand, because he would know. He's been on shaky enough ground. He would know that the World Cup will define him either way.
Yeah.
So he couldn't have realistically. He's not in a position of strength to expect an extension.
Yeah.
The best he could have hoped for is a good World Cup, and then turn around and say,
yeah,
give me 4 more
years. So he was
years.
happy to sit. So it was actually his bosses who decided.
They've jumped the gun.
Yeah. No, it's not very smart. I mean, the sports are different kind of players' mentality, I suppose. But yeah, generally speaking, I don't think it's a good thing. Are the players going to down tools? Of course they're not. I'm sure the mentality rugby players now, the professional players, is absolutely phenomenal. Some amazing athletes and attitude and focus and the whole thing, professionalism. I think they're right up there at the moment, but still think there's a little something when you're looking at your manager and listening to him in the dressing room, just that little voice in the back of your head saying, he's not going to be here, and the man are going to have to listen to this for another kind of 3 months. Do your words carry as much weight in that situation as previously? I'm not too sure. Maybe not in everybody's minds, but only needs a couple, doesn't it? So,
yeah, and just a percentage.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Fontaine, 13 goals in 58. Coxis, the Hungarian, in 54 scored 11. Gert Muller, 1970, got 10. Then a whole bunch got, not a whole bunch, but Eusebio got 9.
Was Ronaldo anywhere there in 2002, was it?
8.
No, not Cristiano, I'm talking about
8.
Yeah, good Ronaldo.
Yeah.
No,
8.
2, 8.
Yeah, right.
How many times? 8.
Right, I'm going to throw something in here, right, in terms of that era that you were talking about, the 5th. Now, I haven't watched every single game from that World Cup. But
most of them, though, have you?
But it came into focus. It came to focus a little bit. Pele, God rest him, when all that footage was coming through in terms of Pele's goals, Rich. Unbelievable goals. But I must admit, it did hit me watching it. I was looking at it thinking, some of the defending here. You know what I mean? It might be an odd thing to say, but seriously,
the game was less codified and less organised. Let's just say. I think generally,
I think so. So I think when you're in comparison 58 as opposed to maybe 80, you know what I mean, and where the game was there in terms of certainly the defensive players, defensive structures and things like that, where players were up against.
Yeah,
I think there is a difference there. Like hard to kind of
massive difference. Now Pele, I'm sure, in his era would say, you want to see the tackles though, buddy.
Yeah,
no picnic either.
Yeah,
maybe it balances out a touch, but look, I agree with you on the defending. We got to go. You're here for the football show. Richie, thank you very much.
I'm off to get some almond nuts, Joe.
Kenny Cunningham staying with us.
Follow me.
Your chance to win big. News Talk's Cash Machine.
Cash Machine's been reloaded. The new number you need is €30,689.72. Text play to 57557. Get your entry by 3 o'clock